Hello DevOps people, welcome to my live coding stream. I'm Jochen, and in this session I'm going to do a bit of Ruby coding, and I'll get back to this in a minute. I'm back, and yeah, I know it's late January, but if I'm honest, I'll have to admit that I simply didn't have the energy to do a live coding stream before this week. When I started the week yesterday, I felt a lot more energized and recharged. So I decided, okay, let's get back into the game and do some coding. And I'm happy that you decided to join me. If you've been here before, you know that I'm very happy to chat, so don't be shy, say hello and let me know what you think. If there's anything you'd like to ask, if there is anything you'd like to give me feedback on, I'm happy to engage in chat with you. So, that being said, let's get right to it. Hey Slayer Darth, happy to have you back. You're my most loyal follower, and good to see you. How's the new year been treating you so far? My year's been pretty good so far, to answer that in advance. It's been quite relaxed, but yeah, as I said, I didn't feel too energized going into the new year, probably because how taxing the previous year was. But yeah, so far 2019 is looking good, and that's why I'm taking the time to do my live stream again, and happy to see happy to see that you're okay as well. Egypt client will always be Egypt client. There's no way around that. I hope that they stay the exception, and I hope you'll get lots of great clients. As I'm happy to say, I am allowed to deal with. Okay, last year I started my own demonstration project, Jupyter, and did some work on it, mostly basic stuff, and I'll continue doing this, but not today. Last week I had an idea for a small fun project, and that's what I'd like to start today. And I hope I'll be able to actually put this project to use. And I've called it LFGQ, which is short for Looking for Group Q. It has to do with my gaming hobby, and that's what I'd like to build, and I'll explain it in a minute. Do I take recommendations for projects? Yes, I do. I'm more than happy to take anything into consideration. So LFGQ is supposed to be a tool that allows people who'd like to play in a group to recruit people. So it's basically a system that allows you to say, okay, I'd like to play tomorrow night from 8 o'clock, and I need 5 people with different roles, and people can then go to the website and register for this game, and they can tell which role they'd like to take, and add a few detail information, things like that. And I'd like the website to be completely anonymous, so people can go on the website, register a new group event, they get back a link that allows them to view the current state of the event, and another link that allows them to change the event. So there will be a read-only link and a read-write link, both with URLs that are completely random, so that we don't need to have email addresses and logins and things like that. The same for the players, so I can simply follow a link that someone has published and register my attendance, and I'll get a link back where I can change. For example, I can cancel my participation or things like that. So it's going mostly following security by obscurity, and I think that for this purpose this is perfectly all right, because we are not dealing with sensitive information here. Okay, and what I'd like to do today is, first of all, write a few user stories that summarize what I've just explained, and I'll do this in the form of GitHub issues, and then I'll start a new Rails application using the suspenders gem, and I'll see how far I'll be able to take it today. I'm definitely committed to continue this on Thursday. So let's add a few new issues, maybe add a label for user story first. User story. Well, yeah, I don't think it'll need a description. Let's see if we can get a hopeful green. Oh, okay, that's all right. So let's go back to the issues. You would like to see me doing something in assembly, maybe making a C64 game. You'd like to get me back into 6502 assembler. I think, let me think, when I used 6502 assembler the last time must be end of the 80s, maybe in 1989 or something like that, because by then I then switched to an Amiga and started programming in C. So 2019, back to 30 years ago, I guess I'd be pretty rusty, and programming a game in assembly would be quite the challenge. But it's an awesome idea. I still like these old machines. I'm a passionate follower of the 8-bit guy on YouTube, and it's always fun to see what people can actually still get out of these machines. Alright, so let's write a few user stories here. New issue. Set up a new event. Label user story as an event owner. I'd like to be able to register a new event so that other players can register their participation. So sign up for an event as a I'd like to be able to sign up for an existing event so that you can take part in the game. There's a streamer you follow on Twitch who's building NES games on his streams. Yeah, that's there's a lot of game development streams out there. I haven't watched many of them, but they're pretty interesting. And yeah, these emulators are awesome. The Vice emulator gives me great retro feelings. Just yesterday, there was an episode of the 8-Bit Guy where he reviewed the Sinclair machines, the early Sinclair machines, so the ZX80 and the ZX81, and he pretty much made fun of the machines because they were built to be cheap. On the other hand, I think cheap was a good thing because it actually got me interested. Back in the early 80s, I started reading about computers. I collected magazines out of paper recycling heaps and learned about what computers can do, and went to the library, got books there, and of course I soon wanted a computer for my own, and at that time most of these machines just weren't affordable for a student. I was still in secondary school, and no way I could afford an Apple II or even an IBM or something like that. So when the ZX81 came out as a kit that you had to assemble yourself for, I don't know, in back then it was below 100 Deutschmarks, I think, so I thought, well, I can save my pocket money to afford one of these machines, even though it was really the lowest technology they were able to offer, with membrane keyboard and small plasticky case and things like that. Yeah, it was really not clear if it was a toy or a computer, but yeah, it got me interested, and in the end I convinced my parents that they'd support me financially so I could afford a VIC-20, which was at least double the amount. I think it was 240 Deutschmarks at that time, and so that was the first machine I got in a very long line of machines. Didn't Sinclair try to make motor scooters? I'm not sure. They had a different name first, but I don't remember what the name was, and then they went with Sinclair. I'd have to look that up. So, these are the most important user stories, and I'm not sure, should I have additional ones? Of course, we'll have to define what an event actually is and things like that, but we could get a bit more detailed here. So let's say we could define roles for an event. owner. As an event owner, I'd like to be able to define different roles for my event so that players can select how they like to participate. Define a time for an event. As an event owner, I'd like to be able to define the time the event is going to take place so that people know the sign-up deadline. Okay, I think we are good. I might have to refine this later, but I think so far we're good. So let's see. I've just installed Ruby 2.5.3 in order to be able to use the suspenders gem. Just to catch you up, suspenders is a gem built by Thoughtbot, which is so suspenders is basically a Ruby on Rails distribution that comes with a lot of pre-installed gems, and so that most of the necessary angles are covered. So it comes with everything you'd need to build a basic Rails application. I find it pretty convenient. Of course, I could install Rails vanilla and then add all the gems I need, but having everything out of the box is just convenient. So it's going to be Rails 5.2. Okay, it's progressing. I was just about to switch to the Ishiku back, but it seems to go forward. Here we go. Okay. Now we can call suspenders. Suspenders, and then just the project name LFGQ. And then we can simply use this to initialize let's see if it already has a Git repository. It wasn't able to initialize the database because I don't have any databases running. What I could do is launch a local Postgres container. That might be helpful. Let's see. Docker Postgres. All we'll have to do is map the Postgres port. The image includes expose 5432. So we could map that. But yeah, just let's go into here, start tmux. Did your editor freeze? That's a rare event, I think, that Vim simply freezes. Okay, so let's see. Can I just run a Postgres database here? Docker run use name LFGQ PG. That should do the trick, I think. You didn't something to freeze your terminal, did you? Okay, so if I'm running rake db create db migrate now, okay, so I'll have to change the database credentials. Not sure if I want to go this way, because normally I have everything running in containers, even the application itself. And I guess I'd like to do this again, but you can still try. Let's see if we can. Sure. Let's see. Rails database. Localhost. Configuring a database. Okay, I could simply set up this way. Host, localhost, and I won't even need a port, I guess. Let's see if this works. Couldn't create LFGQ development database. Okay, no password supplied. Okay, we can supply that. How do I supply that? So you use and we did need a different user as well. User is Postgres, right? Good thing I left this open. Postgres user, and the default user of Postgres will be used. Okay, so username Postgres. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to build a Docker Compose configuration for that. Blaming Microsoft is always a good solution, by the way. Even though my respect for Microsoft is growing with every day I'm using VS Code. Okay, so that's that. which means our Rails application should be set up. Let's see if we can connect to localhost 3000. Yep. So our basic setup is already finished, and which means we could try and create our first model. Rails generate migration. Oh, let's go directly to the model. Let's generate model event, and an event is going to have a title. It's going to have a time. I don't know. Do we have a time? Date time? Date time type. Let me see. Date index. Active record. Basics. Where can I find the different types? Active records, column types. Okay, here we go. Date time. So it has a title, it has a date time, it has certainly it's going to have a short description. And it'll have a read-write URL and a read-only URL that will auto-generate. What else would we need? I'd like to take part in a raid that'll have a title. It'll have a description. It doesn't have an owner because that's basically whoever has the read-write URL. And of course it'll have roles and participants, but those will be additional models. I think that's it for a start. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and I'm not thinking about integrating it with Twitch, at least not in at the start. I'd like people to simply be able to create a new event and then take the read-only or the visitor link, the participant link. So we'll probably need a third link, I guess. But we could use the read-only link for the event. And so you could take the URL and post it in your game chat or in your guild Discord server or things like that. Event roles. We'll have an event ID. That's our references. We'll have a role name. And we'll have an integer, how many people of that role we'll need. Maybe later I could even build a Discord bot or something like that, but let's get the main application built first. Okay. Event without ID. I forgot to add an ID, didn't I? Thanks, QP. And welcome to the stream. Let's see what we've generated so far. DB migrate fence. Yeah, we didn't generate an ID, so let's do this. Our roles should have an ID as well. Do I need to tell Rails that it's going to be a primary key? We'll have foreign keys, yeah, that's referential integrity, but that's only between tables. Oh yeah, you're right. I was thinking about this and somehow I dismissed the thought. Of course, this should be... Oh no, I did actually... Oh, Rails did it for me. It added the ID suffix. So the role has its own ID and it references an event with via its ID. Or did I misunderstand what you just wrote? Just let me know. Active record primary key. Yeah, here we do Use an integer column named ID as the table's primary key. When using active record migrations to create the tables, this column will automatically be created. I'm not sure about that. Let's see what happens. Undefined method ID. Oh, of course. Got it the other way around. You can't redefine the primary column key column ID to define a customer primary key. Okay. T reference. Yeah, the reference is already there, and so I can drop that stuff because it's implicit. But I don't have a relation event IDs, so it's actually event. Yep. Let's take a look at the schema. So we have events, but it doesn't have. Oh, okay, it might still be implicit, and we have an event ID that references the event. Yeah, and it adds a foreign key for that. That's looking good. So what we can do is take a look at the models that were generated. That's how event looks like. Pretty not spectacular, and it already says belongs to event ID. Okay. I guess it's time to initialize our Git repository. Yeah, it already has a repository, so I'll just add everything we have. Push it online. So if you'd like to follow along, gvis/LFGQ is a public repository, and you can see my progress. All right then. I've also set up a Heroku deployment, so there should be a build happening at the moment, and we might even be able to see the Rails application working, but I'll check back later. What I'd like to do now is basically generate a few controllers so I can actually enter an event and the necessary roles, which will be the most basic CRUD functionality. Let's generate controller. Events controller. And I think I can add the verbs that I'd like to use, right? Since we'll need all the verbs anyway, let's just go ahead and... Oh! Okay, that was not intentional. What did it create? It created add views events controller. We need to get rid of that. So here we go. Now we have an events controller, and we can use the standard functions. Let's start with new, create. Well, that's pretty much implicit, and yeah, we don't have an index action. Let's add that one. Now we'll also need a template for the view. Views. Events. We probably won't need an index HTML in production because we shouldn't be able to list all the events, but just for testing purposes. Maybe I'll hide it beneath an admin account or something. So let's simply say LFGQ events, and that's not right. Markdown, it's to HTML instead. Syntax error. Not even. Oof. Found unreadable normalized CSS. I've encountered that problem before. I think I can simply comment this out in application.css. Assets, style sheets, application CSS. Let's remove this. Yep, here we go. Oh no, oh god, I'm starting to write PHP of the 90s. That, since we don't have any events in there so far. Okay, we don't even pass in an event, so let's do this in the events controller. Events equals events. Event. So if we add an event, okay, yes. Styling actually doesn't render bulleted lists from out of the box, but we can change that later. Okay. And let's add a few roles to this, just to see if things are working. I probably add the annotate gem as well, so I can get the current schema in these files as a comment block. It's going to get harder to get these things out of the schema.rb file. For the time being it's okay, but so we should be able to, oh yeah, let's add the backwards relation to the event model. Has many event roles. And now we should be able to add a role with name and amount. So let's say we need one tank. Okay, and this let's go to the event ID. Shouldn't that be populated automatically? Let's go the direct route then. Yeah, it really shows that I don't often build applications from scratch. Most of the applications I'm coding for have been in existence for quite a long time. And these basic building blocks really aren't routine for me. Event role, create. Event ID would be e.id. Name would be tank and amount would be 1. Still, there's something wrong with the role. Oh yeah, of course. Belongs to event. Yeah, I didn't fix this when I fixed the migration. So we should be able to take my first approach. E equals event first. E event roles, create name, tank, amount 1. Yep, brilliant. And we'll need a healer. And we need a damage dealer. And we'll, since we need a few, let's create 3. So we should be able to say E event roles plug name, and we get tank, healer, and damage dealer. Brilliant. And if you go into the thing here, we could say event roles plug name join comma so the names of the roles should be listed behind the event title. Yep, nice. What I should do is create a seed file instead of creating these things from scratch and by hand. So let's go into db seeds.rb and let's repeat what I just did. So I say event create title dungeon run. I'll leave aside the time, or we could even say time today I'll find, yeah, let's find out how to best do this, but for the time being with 5 people, and we'll store this in dungeon, and then we can create the roles. Dungeon event roles create name tank amount 1. My coding style normally is that all listed parameters get a comma at the end, so you can swap them around. We can simply copy this and say, okay, let's have 3 of these, and then I'll go ahead and create a raid, which normally has a lot of people. raid run with, say, 10 people. We'll use 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 6 damage dealers. And we'll have to replace dungeon with raid. So let's delete what we have so far. Event role, delete all, event delete all, raid db seed. Yep. Yep. Cool. Let's will this work quick and dirty? Okay. It's not pretty, so probably want to iterate through these rows. Something like this. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I guess next thing would be to allow people to build the input forms for an event. Okay. So now it pays that I've used suspenders to create this application because suspenders already comes with a simple form built in. Let's take a look at the list of supported stuff here, and they have a simple form for form markup and style, so I'll go ahead and simply see how this is going to work. And so let's this for starters. Simply form for event. Title. Description. Yeah, the date and time picker will be the biggest challenge here, I guess. I've never used date time field before, if I'm honest. So, but that should do the trick, doesn't it? That's new. Undefined method model name. Let me see. Yeah, I'll have to pass in an instance variable. Yep. Where's the effing submit button? Yeah, it's missing, isn't it? It didn't save one, did it? No, it did not. Yeah, we don't have a create function. So we'll need a secure params function. Secure params. Da, 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 da. Strong parameters. So our event needs to have a title and a description, and then we can say, well, we don't need an instance variable here, I think. Event equals no, we can simply create an event. Event create secure params. And I should add a redirect, I guess. But it did. Oh well, it did create multiples. Okay. So it did work before. And we'll simply redirect to... How does this work? Redirect to at event. Well, it does make sense. So we need the show. The show method as well. Let's put this over here. So we'll need a show.html.erb. And we'll say find equals find ID. It's not ID, it's params.id. Params common ID. No. Couldn't find a event with ID1. Oh yeah, there actually isn't one. Okay, so if I go and add a new event, interesting. Cannot redirect to nil. Of course it can't, since I'm not using an instance variable here. So yeah, here we go. So what we could do is make the events index page the root page of our application. That's not how it works, is it? Root 2 and then events index. Okay. Not root underscore 2, but root 2. Okay, and then we could add a link here. Oh, we could just simply generate the link. Link to create a new event. New events path. Called differently. New event path. Cool. And we could link Okay, so now we got our basic Rails application. I'll go ahead and commit this. Well, actually, this is already working on one of my user stories. In particular, the set up a new event user story. So I'll go ahead and create a branch for this using the issue number and a short name. And then I commit it to this branch. In the end, it will resolve this issue. And push this as well. And now I can work in this branch until I've finished this. Which I won't finish today, because I'm almost at the end of my time frame. And I guess this is a good time to wrap it up for today. It'll also give me a bit of opportunity to think about my next steps, but this is fun, and I'm happy to see it coming along nicely. Sorry, can't go on the phone right now. So that's it for today. I think I'm off to a good start with my first stream for the year, and I'm planning to have my second stream of the year on Thursday at the same time, 3:30 p.m. GMT. So I guess if I didn't forget anything, I'll be back on Thursday, and we'll see how we continue this application. And I'll upload the recording of this session to YouTube. You can find my channel at youtube.fullstacksensei.com. And you can reach me via Twitter at FullStackSensei. If there's anything you'd like to give me a shout about, please do so. And I hope you enjoyed this session, and to see you back on Thursday afternoon. Until then, take care.